Aloha everybody and welcome back to Kai's Creatures. Yeah, I know it's been a hot minute, but you'll have to bear with me, things have been a little weird in my life lately. Nonetheless, I am working on some future plans and I even have a website that I'm planning on getting up and running. I will link that in the description from now on probably, but heads up, there's nothing there yet. But I do want to start writing up some scientific articles as well as doing these videos, so yeah, be on the lookout for that. But today I just wanted to give a bit of a refresher, get back on the camera, you know, get involved with some things again, because while future plans are nice, it doesn't mean anything if you're not doing something with the present. So, there you go. So if you remember from my very first video, what was that, 4 or 5 months ago or so, I started out this channel by introducing you to the bug room, or more accurately, really at this point, the cockroach room. But I wanted to go ahead and just do an update on that because there's a lot of things I have to update about my roach breeding projects. I want to go over that and then just show you a few cool new things I have and update you on the things I've had over the channel in the last couple months. So without any more puttering around, let's get to it. I'm very happy to report that my Halloween hisser colony is going fairly well at this point. I started out with 2 females and a male. One female and the male both died, so I wasn't feeling too good about that, but they did have babies for me in the package, and now most of those babies are grown up and either ready to breed or getting pretty close to it by this point. So what started out as a potential disaster actually is going pretty well now. It is fantastic news because Halloween hissers are adorable little buggers. You're so cute. There's not much to update with them other than, yay, the colony didn't die off and it's actually doing all right. Now with the regular hissers I have, the Gromphotherina portentosa on the other hand, things are starting to get a little crowded. If you look there, this one is actually airing out her ootheca, which is that egg case there. And it freaks new people out sometimes seeing it hang out like that, like, oh, did something prolapse? Is she okay? She's fine. They literally just air out the egg case sometimes and give their abdomens a little rest from having that giant thing shoved in it. So this is in fact totally normal. The problem that presents is that, you see this big boy? He's not the only one in there, and male hissers do not get along in very close proximity to each other. They're probably not going to hurt each other, but they might end up doing more fighting than mating. For a colony, an ideal ratio is about 1 male to every 2 to 4 females. At least twice as many females as males is recommended for a healthy colony. I have 13 males and 17 females. 10 gallons for 30 plus hissing roaches is not quite enough space, so I need to consider getting them a much bigger enclosure soon. But they are pretty darn cool. The orange head colony, Eublaberus posticus, is also doing pretty well still, but I always had several adults of these right from the get-go. They have actually been my main feeder for most of my predators, because they produce a lot of nymphs pretty regularly, so I've been glad to have them on a number of levels, as feeders and just because they are a pretty nifty little roach. But overall, there's not really much to update on the orange heads. There's a lot of them. There's been a lot of them. I'm probably going to need to upgrade the size of their enclosure as well, but that's about all there is to report on that. The other Eublaberus species I have is what I'm actually excited to talk about, my ivory head roaches. So with my orange heads, my Eublaberus posticus, I started out with a colony of 50 mixed adults and nymphs. Ivory roaches, my Eublaberus distanci, I started out with only 15 babies, but now I finally have an adult. They are a beautiful roach. They are not they're much quicker than the hissers though. Hey, one. And most of the other nymphs are very, very large and right behind this one as far as molting to adulthood, so the breeding should be able to begin fairly soon. So I am very happy about that, because this is a beautiful little roach species. I wish he'd sit still for a second so I could show you his cute face. You can see their big anime girl eyes really well on this species. Hey! Come back! Not behind the elbow. Why? Hey, there we go. They are not as good for handling as the hissers, though, that is for sure. The other fun update is not on something new I got, but something I presumed dead months ago that, turns out it was not. And that is this, centipede in here, which I will try to find for you. Scolopendra viridis. Whoop! And they are fast! This is the Florida green centipede, is the common name, or at least one of the common names. But yeah, it is Scolopendra viridis, one of the smallest of the scolopendrids that you can keep in the hobby. They only get to about 4 inches or so. There's nothing like its other scolopendrid cousins, like, you know, Scolopendra dehani, that can grow up to over a foot. The interesting thing about him is not the species itself, because Scolopendra viridis is actually one of the cheapest, most common, smallest, least significant pet centipedes you can get. But the funny thing about it is that I thought he was dead months ago. Literally, like, right around the time I started this channel, I had him, but I couldn't find him, so I assumed that he was gone. Like, I assumed he had just returned to the soil because I looked all throughout the dirt and everything and could not find him, and it's a small enclosure. So I ended up finding him again the other day. He was just alive and well out of nowhere, like he just returned from the grave. So I was like, okay. And I found that interesting because we have very low natural humidity here, and I had stopped watering the enclosure. Like, the dirt was hard, it was so dry. So if you know anything about myriapods, you'll know that they're very moisture dependent. Like, if they dry out, they're dead. That's it, they're done for. Somehow, though, this guy was still alive. I don't know how that's even possible, but, you know, life finds a way. Thinking of getting a much bigger species soon that is both more interesting and much easier to keep track of. That's about it for the actual bug room, but I do have several things that are still in this room that are not in the actual breeding room. For example, these horseshoe crab roaches, which I breed outside of the roach room because they actually breed in much cooler temperatures. And until recently, I did not have any adults, but now I do. That is not a dead roach, that is just molted skin. So let's try to find one of these little cuties, shall we? Here we go. This little cutie pie is Hemiblabra tenebricosa, the horseshoe crab roach. So named because of their somewhat horseshoe crab-like appearance, I guess. But they are just very round and cute. And this is an adult. I finally have a couple of them now, so we can get breeding on these guys. Probably after I clean this dirt out, because, ugh, gnats. But yeah, they're really round, really cute. They have these cute little stubby wings. They're kind of adorable. But they are very shy and fossorial, so they don't really come out of the soil much. Here's a larger nymph. Adulthood should be just a month or 2 away for you, I guess. But I know I have more adults in here now. Oh yeah, here comes another one. You're all dirty. You dirty roach. Oh. Yeah, here's a little cutie. These guys are definitely gonna need a bigger enclosure soon though, because this is not going to do for a roach colony, even one that breeds relatively slow like these guys. What I'm thinking of doing is moving those hissing roaches into the enclosure that the orange head ones are now in. Just because it is a bit bigger, it's taller, it's better sealed. Baby hissers can get out of the smallest of spaces, so I think I need something more secure than a 10-gallon with a screen top. But I want to move them into there, probably just get a much bigger enclosure for the orange heads since they do breed so fast, and probably move the horseshoe crabs into that 10-gallon. See, a 10-gallon with a lid is fine for horseshoe crab roaches because they cannot climb glass, and they are very fossorial anyway, so climbing is just not their thing. They would much rather be down in the dirt. They're in the dirt 100% of the time, so a 10-gallon tank that doesn't have much for security is actually perfectly fine for that species, so I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to end up doing. fun critter I got recently that I haven't really talked about on the channel is I got dairy cows. For those of you who don't know, you might be thinking like, what the hell? Like, what do cows have to do with bugs? Well, I don't mean actual cows. I'm actually referring to isopods, specifically a breed of Porcellio laevis called the dairy cow isopod. And when I show you, it should be fairly obvious why they're called that. Say hello to my little friends. These are, as I mentioned, Porcellio laevis, a species of isopod. I'm actually planning on branching into a lot more isopods, but I figured I would start with one of the classics. These are one of the most beloved species, although they do reproduce quickly, so I'm gonna need a bigger container than this. I also have this little rock in here. I found this in the forest on one of my little bug adventures, so thought it would be fitting to put it in with the little cows. Are they not just the cutest of patooties, though? Oh, where are you going? Yeah, isopods, roly-polies are cute enough on their own, but when they look like tiny cows, oh my goodness. Now I'm going to very slowly show you one of my other projects I have. This is Cornu asperisum, just commonly known as the garden snail. Now, these are in a bit of a legal gray area. You can keep and breed them. However, in the state of Colorado, you cannot sell them. And nationally speaking, you cannot transport them across state lines. So they're like legal, but kinda not legal at the same time. It's a bit of a complex matter. Hey, we got another one coming out here. But I really love snails, even though I don't really think these qualify as bugs. They are mollusks, which means if these qualify as bugs, then rightfully so should a squid, which I don't think anybody's calling squids bugs. Snails, while I wouldn't really refer to them as bugs, are one of my favorite little critters. Even when I was a kid, I loved these guys. And that was back when I was afraid of, you know, most invertebrates. These guys I never was. I just think they're just one of the cutest things out there. And I don't know why I never thought of keeping them as pets until fairly recently. Another species of snail, though, that I really like, but for legal reasons I do not have. So we'll go over that another time. In the meantime, let's talk about a species that I do have that is perfectly legal, however is quite rare. This is Analicostreptus cervatius, formerly and sometimes still known as Spirostreptus cervatius. They are an awesome millipede. They are considered medium size for an African millipede, but they are gigantic by American standards. They get as long as our Orthoporus ornatus, the desert millipede, at about 8 inches. But these guys are capable of growing a bit more than that. I've heard them up to 10, maybe even 11 inches. And they're quite a bit chunkier than our native desert millipede. So they are amazing. They are from the same region as the typical giant African millipede, the Archostreptor asparasagigas. But I think they are arguably even cooler because they have such cool coloration and they are much more rare. I've seen plenty of Archostreptor asparasagigas, the giant African black millipede, but these guys, I've heard of them, but I've never actually seen them for sale. And the funny thing is, I didn't have to buy these. I just met a guy online randomly who literally just gave them to me for free. I guess he said because his wife says he hoards too many bugs and he had to get rid of some. I don't know. But I did not expect to get such rare and awesome millipedes for free. So that was pretty dang awesome. So I actually have 5 of these guys. They're all around the length of my index finger, so between 4 and 5 inches. And yeah, believe it or not, even though they're as big as our largest native millipedes, they will actually double this size in the future. So definitely looking forward to that. Super awesome species, and yes, I will be breeding them. Yes, I will be selling them. Eventually, mind you. They're not quite ready for that, and I'm not ready to part with the less than half dozen I have now, so yeah, look out for that in the next couple of years, I guess. I want to make sure I have a lot of them before I start selling them off. But they are awesome. Absolutely underrated species as far as millipedes go. Hey, look, he's so cute. And they hang on really well, so I'm guessing they're at least semi-arboreal because there's not actually a lot of information out here on these guys. Thankfully, millipede care is fairly standard across the board. Oh yeah, dropping a bit of Kylor here, but millipedes are absolutely one of my favorite arthropods, and they are what got me into the hobby overall, like just into bugs and stuff. Like millipedes are amazing, and I'm super stoked to have several of such an awesome and rare species, so yay me! Let's try that again. This beautiful creature is a Gallinaopsis eperta, a species of grass spider, also known as funnel web spiders, because of the kind of funnely webs they weave. But they are a big, beautiful, interesting spider. They are often mistaken for wolf spiders, but they are in fact quite different in their methodology. And if you can see at the end of the abdomen there, those spinnerets on them, those little things sticking out her bum, that is a sure sign that it is not a wolf spider, because wolf spiders do not spin webs, and therefore their spinnerets are really tiny or non-existent. They're mostly vestigial in wolf spiders. These guys, however, are very big web weavers. It basically caught itself. Like, I am so good at catching bugs and stuff now, they catch themselves. I had one of these, one of these plastic cups that I use for catching bugs in, just sitting on the floor in the bug room, and this little fella was just sitting in it. And so all I had to do to catch it was put the lid on the container he put himself in. And now I have this really pretty awesome spider. So I'm pretty happy about that. And of course, I can't create a video like this without talking about my two darlings, Scarlet and Natasha, who are both doing very well. It's funny, like, they both behave differently in regards to the little houses that I made for them. Natasha does not use it at all, which I guess I'm fine with. She rather would park right next to the house I made her, rather than actually go inside of it. Which is, I didn't make you a house so you could just ignore it, but at the same time, she's always out and visible. Whereas Scarlet, I hardly ever see her. She's almost always there. So, I guess at least she uses the house I gave her, although I wish she would come out sometimes. But as I mentioned in the previous video, black widows are known for being pretty couch potato-y. They like to stay in one place once they find their little home, so let's see if I can't see her in there. She's in there. Really hard to, yeah, there's that leg. Yeah, she really likes the house I gave her. Natasha does not use it. She is constantly at home, however. Relatable. But yeah, these two beauties have absolutely been delightful. I kind of do want to create a whole video on widow spiders because there are actually several species that are really interesting right here in the US, especially the red widow. So not gonna lie, I might make a video just on that. Yeah, for now, like I said, I'll put my website in the description and check that from time to time because I will be updating it starting pretty soon here, posting articles and and whatnot, and perhaps crafts that are buyable. I'll have a store up there soon. That's probably where I'm going to be posting the insects I breed once I'm ready to do that as well. So yeah, keep an eye on my progress with that. And yeah, until next time, take care of each other, take care of the earth. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Aloha.